Welcome back to the Pickle Pulse, episode 3. I'm your host, Brian Green, and I'm here with Mike Strain and James Broker.
That is I.
What's up, boys? How's the day?
Going on episode 3. Come a long way from episode 1, you know? Here we are.
How far have we come at this point?
It's been a week. So, you know?
Same couch, same mics, but we're learning, we're getting better. And, what I'm most excited about is playing pickleball tonight and what 2024 brings. So it should be really fun. So this evening I wanted to talk about MLP. The finals just finished up. There was a big announcement this week about the different premier level teams versus the different challenger level teams. And I thought it was really interesting how it all took place and what is going to come of it. But before I even get into that, I thought that the finals were awesome. There was some huge upsets. There was some fantastic matches. The GOAT ended up winning it in the end. Spoiler alert. I guess I should have said that before I said that. But
if you haven't watched it already, what are you doing? It's been like 2 weeks.
You missed. Yeah. You missed. But the GOAT did end up winning his first one of the year, which I thought was awesome that he didn't win every single one, which is why I love the MLP format. And I saw some things in him during this tournament that I didn't think I would ever see. And so I sort of want to discuss that, and that if you were watching the DC Pickleball team, they went up 2 games to none. And during that second game, it was the men's doubles. So you had Ben Johns and Eric Lang
playing Christian Alshon and
Riley Newman. Yep. And so, I mean, amazing teams. And basically, Riley and Christian were working them.
Cooking them.
Yeah, just cooking.
Absolutely smoking them.
And I saw something come out of Ben that I just didn't expect, and it looked like he quit. I mean, his body language was awful.
If I'm Ben Johns, and you know the level that he's at, and both him and Eric Lang, Eric Lang were getting torched, right? Mm-hmm. Eric Lang especially. He's obviously getting more balls. I mean, he's playing the right, but he's getting cooked a little bit. Yeah, Ben was like, basically, F this.
Yeah.
You know, like
I mean, his body language, I could not believe. He was sulking around like Eeyore looking for his tail.
Fair enough.
If you're a Winnie the Pooh fan, there's a reference for you. But Eric Lang looked at him, and there was nothing said, but he decided to just step up. And all of a sudden, he started playing better and better and better, almost pulling the team back to win that game.
Almost came back in men's. They ended up losing. Mm-hmm. And then you would think down 0-2 that Ben Johns would go out there for the third match, right? The first mixed match. But I don't know. I guess it was his call, and he sent out Eric Lang.
Yeah. And the thought process there, from what I understood, was he wants them to play loose. They have nothing to lose, so play your best.
Play your best.
And then if the high-pressure situation comes up, it's on his shoulders to finish.
And it worked.
Which I think it's amazing.
GM Ben got it done.
Yeah.
That just shows why his knowledge of the game is just so much better than everybody else.
Absolutely.
And that's why he's the GOAT. That's why he's the Tom Brady of pickleball.
But that was the semifinals.
That was the
semis. So they get to the finals, and they do the same thing. Mm-hmm. Now, he didn't have the body language like he did before. But they go down 0-2 to the Orlando Squeeze, which is Zane Navratil. You got Andre Daescu, which is a beast. He's one of my favorite players. The guy's unreal.
Who else? Anna Bright,
and then Rohrbacher.
Rachel Rohrbacher.
Yeah, and she's new to the scene.
Yes.
And so you're looking at this going, it's over. You know, Orlando Squeeze is going to win the whole thing.
They won Atlanta?
Yeah.
Which one? Orlando did.
That's correct. Like two ago, not the last one, but
not
the
last
before.
one, but the one before. And I remember Anna Bright played like lights out in that one. She was.
And Rohrbacher really did too.
Yeah.
I mean, she stepped up and came out of nowhere, and that's kind of where she made her name.
Yep. And then, so they were up, they were up 2-0.
Yep. And then all of a sudden, Lang does what he does. I mean, he turns it on.
Wins another mixed.
Yeah, and Ben's he's not losing in mixed.
He's winning the fourth.
Yep.
And then they the Dreambreaker.
That's right. And the Dreambreaker, they're still underdogs. I mean, you've got really solid singles players there, and somehow pulls it out. I mean, it was a phenomenal show to watch. I enjoyed every minute of it, other than I was rooting against Benny Boy. Sorry if he's listening. But, it's fun to see other people win sometimes, too, and I'm a big underdog guy.
God, I mean, you can't hate the GOAT. He's winning for a reason. He's that much better than everybody else.
Don't get me wrong. It's not hate.
Not to turn this into a Ben Johns glazing podcast, but he is that much better than everybody.
Definitely not hate, but he is a notch above. Yeah. For sure. For sure. So that was really interesting to watch. And I totally enjoyed it, which got me pumped to talk about the new teams that were announced.
Yep.
And also, I think some of our listeners out there may have watched some of MLP. They may have seen a PPA tournament, maybe on ESPN, which is kind of cool because you can pick them up there. But they don't quite understand what they're seeing. So I really just wanted to first break down like what MLP's format is versus a PPA, and then the two entities that are now one. So MLP is Major League Pickleball. And
not to be confused with My Little Pony. Because if you just type in MLP.
No, you do not.
I swear, if you type in MLP on YouTube.
Wow.
Just My Little Pony pops up.
Wow. And then you're watching videos for 3 hours?
No, and then it's like, oh man, and how do I get this off my search history? And it turns into this big mess. So make sure you type in MLP Pickleball.
Yes. Yeah,
crucial move.
It's a good nugget. Yeah. I like it. So MLP runs a rally scoring tournament. So it is essentially you score a point on every ball that is served, and they play to 21. All right, so what that also means is there's no switching sides, which is really cool. So the left-hand player can stay on the left, and the right-hand player can stay on the right, which really creates something nice for teams that are setting up to really have left-hand specialists and right-hand specialists, which is where pickleball seems to be going at this point.
Yeah, people are picking a side, getting good at that side, and staying there for the most part.
For sure. For sure. It makes me think
it's just easier that way. You know your position,
Yeah, it makes me think of Ryan Kane, and I hope he does. But, like, he is a right-hand specialist. He's been playing with some beast and winning some high-level tournaments. And his game has gotten really, really well. So he's that right-hand specialist, local guy. At least that's what I think of.
I'm going to give Ryan Kane some love. I see him play left a lot.
No.
Ryan plays a lot of left.
Playing some left.
Who's he playing left with?
I mean, he plays
mixed.
He played like 5 tournaments with Ben this calendar year.
And he's a left.
Okay, he's a lefty.
So he played a lot of left.
All right, I like you guys. Just call me out. All right,
but
sorry,
I do
Ryan.
like Ryan's forehand roll. He's got. I always tell him that's his money shot. His forehand roll really
so good
opens
at
up the side.
dinking at the kitchen.
See how we digress so quickly.
Yeah, but back to MLP, right? Rally scoring.
Yep.
You played a 21. So I think that the appeal for MLP is that essentially how long the matches are going to last, right? It's for TV time, for just planning a tournament, for like time slots. A 21-point match is only going to go so long, or a first team 221, right?
Mm-hmm.
Compared to a 2 out of 3 to 11 when you can have infinite side outs.
Correct.
And it just takes forever.
Correct. And we'll talk about the side out scoring here in a second, but I will say that the rally scoring format is super fun. Mike and I played a AIP pop-up.
Yeah, I like the format of what they had too. And I noticed, there were 4 courts going at a time, and all the games almost finished pretty much at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, it was pretty quick getting through the matchups.
And it's super competitive, and in the end, the better team typically wins. But in a rally scoring format, you can't so much just rely that, okay, just because we're better, we're going to win. You really have to play better.
Correct. The team that plays better wins rally scoring versus the better team usually wins side out scoring.
You nailed it.
That might be a little confusing, but I personally am definitely a fan of side out scoring.
Okay.
Rally scoring. I I think that it puts a lot of pressure on the return.
Yeah.
You have to be.
The rally scoring puts pressure on the return.
Yes.
Yeah, because you can't miss them.
Right.
You don't want to give away free points.
You can't give away any free points. And I don't know. It's also maybe just like a little bit of a resistance to change.
Okay.
Because when I started playing pickleball, everyone played side out. I didn't even know what rally scoring was, and then all of a sudden rally scoring comes along. But from what I've heard, everything's going to shift to rally scoring eventually. Yeah. It's going to turn into a rally scoring sport.
Well, and I actually thought that the pop-up that we played in was super fun because, yes, it was on time. But, you know, we got to draft players all the way down to – I was one of the last players drafted. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. But we ended up making it into the you like how I just called myself out. It's all
It's
good.
so true.
It's good. But the thing is, even though I was one of the last – I was the Eric Lang of the group. And I helped my team pull up. And
did you win your mixed match?
No, well, see, it was all boys.
Right,
so,
mixed match, right?
Yeah, I guess I was pushed on the right, and I wore a skirt most of the day.
Nice.
But, no, we were in every match, and I thought that was cool, even playing against some really, really good players that were out there. So, with that format, I think it's really fun, and if you guys out there listening haven't tried it, just next time you go out and play rec, play rally scoring. Like, choose your side that you want to start on. There's a point scored on every round, and you go to 21 and see what you think. And let me know in the comments. Do you prefer side out? Do you prefer rally?
I think that the team format is going to go pretty far because if you look at it like from a tennis perspective, you have like the tennis teams.
Like
right?
college.
Or just like your local USCA team, you have like a 10-0 mixed team, right? And then you have they have like teams of like 8 players, right? But if you do the same style with pickleball where you basically have 2 guys, 2 girls, and you can do an MLP format and you can go out and do like a MLP league night or something. I think there's a ton of potential for that. I think that's gonna blow up too.
Yeah. I mean, that'd be really like if they dropped a tournament right now locally or somewhere that was within a couple hour drive and it was a team tournament. Matter of fact, they had one down at Pouncey Track that got rained out. I was so bummed because
they did a team one down there.
Yeah, and I had a really good team put together. I had well, anyway, I'm not going to.
You were on the team, so it couldn't have been that good.
Okay,
unless you were playing GM, you could have been GM.
All right, I had Max on the left with me, so Big Max.
Oh
yeah, Synthorm or
Synthorntham.
Yeah, so I have Max. I felt real good about it. And I was like, look, I just take my 20%, let Max freaking do what he does. Anyway.
He's slapping with the Selkirk control right now.
Yes, he is.
Paddle guy.
There's been a bunch of times I'm like, oh, yeah, Ryan Kiwi. I kind of relate everybody to their paddle. And the game.
Yeah, with the rally scoring, I think it'd be really fun. Try it. PPA is the other way around, where you have your side-out scoring, which essentially is scored like a volleyball match, to my understanding.
The team that's serving can only score the point.
Correct.
Only the team that's serving.
So there are some advantages and disadvantages to that. One is that the matches can last forever.
I mean, I've personally played in like a 90-minute 2 out of 3 to 11.
Yeah,
like
I believe that.
Yeah, same.
I mean, it's not longer. I don't want to say 2 hours and someone call me out, but I was pushing damn near close to 2 hours.
That's like cramping territory.
Yeah. Shout out Ben Wenger. Always cramping on me.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you were saying that you were with him because I know it didn't last that long with Ben. All he does is speed it up every second. Just speed it up, speed it up.
Well, that's why he's not scoring now.
Yeah, that's why we're not scoring points. No, that's my boy. But yeah, I think side out scoring is obviously what's popular right now in like the pro tour of the single elimination brackets of the pro style format. Will that switch to rally scoring? Probably not in the next year or two, but eventually it might.
I actually think it will. I would put a little bet on it. And if you give me 2 years as the over under, I think it switches before the end of 2026.
Yeah, I wasn't really initially interested in it either. And then when I actually played it in that format, I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. Like, I think the freeze out was probably the more interesting part of it when you got to like a certain point. So you kind of had like this like sub goal to get to.
So what do you mean when you say freeze out for people who don't know?
I forget the rule. What
It
is
was
it like?
it was the
19?
first team to 18, I
18.
think. They had to win the last 3 points on their serve. So basically, for the team that got to 18, it changed to side out scoring.
Mm-hmm.
The team that was losing still had rally scoring where they could essentially get points faster until they got to 18, and then both teams would be from there on out on side out scoring.
That's exactly right. And that was how MLP originated, but then they moved to, it switched to side out scoring only for the final point. So the freeze out starts at 20 now in MLP, which I like because, I mean, look, if you're flipping over to side out scoring with 3 points to go, that comeback could be legit.
It could be a vicious comeback. I mean, you could come back
10 points down,
10 points, easy,
for
with
sure.
side out scoring.
So I think that's cool. And then, but I don't get me wrong, I like the side out scoring as well, in that it allows you to really go after your serve. You're not going to lose a point. And so you can get super aggressive there. And there are some pros and cons where when you're serving, you can get super aggressive trying to win points. But in rally scoring, you're going to play a little more of a conservative approach to it.
Which I think aligns more with the core values of pickleball in a sense that they don't want the serve to be super aggressive, right?
Agreed.
They want it to, the origination of the serve was to just get the ball in play.
Mm-hmm.
And as it got more competitive, it transformed into, let me hit this massive serve to try to use it as a weapon, which from what I've been told from like people that have been in the game for so long is not how it was meant to be played.
Right.
Yeah. So. And it's more fun to watch. I mean, if pickleball goes to a 3 or 4 shot rally, then it's not as entertaining as the 50 shot rallies that we're getting.
As long as it's not 50 boring dinks in the kitchen.
Yeah, well,
because that is so boring.
That get back to our conversation from last time. Let's just make the paddles shotgun paddles like in Caddyshack, because that's where we're heading right now.
Yeah, they're launching the ball.
Yeah, so that's a breakdown between the two. There was big news from MLP, and they essentially announced this week the new teams, and I went ahead and pulled them up here. And so we have 12 premier level teams, and that is the AZ Drive, the Columbus Sliders, the Dallas Pickleball Club, which always makes me think of that Matthew McConaughey movie, Dallas Buyers Club. Yes.
Yep.
AIDS movie. It's actually pretty good. A little bit of a bummer at the end.
Spoiler alert.
DC Pickleball Team. Let's go, DC.
Yep.
And we've got the Los Angeles Mad Drops, the New Jersey Fives, the New York Hustlers, the Orlando Squeeze, the Seattle Pioneers, the St. Louis Shock, the Texas Rangers, and the Utah Black Diamond.
So these 12 Premier League teams, I guess they sent out like a memo to all 24 teams.
It's a blind bid.
And they did a Dutch auction.
Okay, that's what they called it.
It's called a Dutch auction. So everyone basically submits a blind bid into this pool, right? And the top 12 bidders are immediately placed in Premier, and they have to pay the lowest amount bid. So that 12th number that was bid is the number that the top 12 teams pay to get into Premier.
Yep.
And that turned out to be $400,000.
$400,000 to be a Premier team. And this is before, I've got to imagine all of these teams are not making any money. Wouldn't you think so, Mike? Not yet, at least. It's too infantile.
No shot any type of pickleball tour is making money right now.
Yeah. Well, no, actually, I hear the PPA is profitable. And that was one of the reasons that the merger was talked about. MLP was so
Well, MLP was losing a ton of money.
Yeah, MLP is definitely
I know. Money. I think that $400,000 is a steal. Although I also heard through the King of the Court podcast, shout out Tyler Leung and Jimmy Miller, that the top 4 teams from Challenger, right? So those teams that didn't want to pay the $400,000, there's 12 teams in Premier, 12 teams in Challenger. I believe it's the season 2, right? So the second half of the year.
Correct. The season ending will be in like June or July, somewhere in there.
Right. So with that second season, 4 teams from Challenger, the top 4 teams are going to get bumped up into Premier without paying anything.
Nice.
So if you have a good Challenger team, you're going to get that. You're basically saving, I guess almost like $1 million is what they're saying.
Well, potentially,
moved
because
up.
here's what else is interesting on this is that the premier level, the first 2 players are going to be bid on. And so how you're going to acquire your top 2 premier level players. And so for people that don't know, the premier level is the top 48 players in the world. All right. And they have some
Top
sort of
24 guys and then the top 24 women.
correct.
Right.
Nailed it. And so what they're going to do is give them $500,000 each of monopoly money. Let's call it MLP money. And then they're allowed to use another $500,000 of their own money to acquire the top 2 teams or the top 2 players. So the people who are willing to spend the most are going to have the best teams. And the question is, who's got the deepest pockets within those teams? Who's willing to spend to win? And how much do you think Ben Johns is really worth?
When do they start releasing how much money the players are getting?
Well, that's
when does this turn into every other major sport where you got Adrian Wojnarowski tweeting what the contract is as soon as it drops?
Yep.
You know,
I'd
when
love
that
it.
Woj bomb hits on Twitter, when is that going to happen for pickleball where you know what every single player is making? And that way, basically the public decides in like a public forum, oh, this dude's overpaid, this dude's trash.
I can't wait to talk about it.
Oh
I can't
my
wait
goodness.
to talk about it.
Yeah. So I think once they release the salaries that people are getting in these contracts, it opens up like that whole salary transparency thing where
But my
you can be
understanding,
criticized for how much you're making if you're not doing a good job.
Under a microscope.
Yeah.
yeah, I like it though. Pressure. Let's go. But my understanding of this is that that money isn't paid to the player that is being bid on. It's being paid back to MLP. Basically, they're using it as a fundraiser for
MLP,
the league.
Yeah, they need it. So
Yeah, exactly.
it's smart for them.
No, and I want to see this thing win. So in the end, don't get me wrong, I'm not hating on any of it. I think it's very intriguing how they're going about doing this. And in the end, I just hope that, number one, the players get paid fairly so that they can be true professionals. And then number two, we as the consumer get an excellent product in the end. Right?
Fair. I like that.
Yeah. So with that being said, you know, what we saw from last season are the male players and the female players. Is that when you're bidding for these top 2 players, do you see it if you were a GM now as like who would you go after? Would you want to go male? Would you want to go male-female?
So from what I've seen, obviously like Ben Johns is kind of in like his own category, right? But the women's game, there are only so many like top level women, and then there's a pretty sharp drop off until you from that first tier to the second tier. And I'm not gonna put a number on how many are in that first tier.
I would say 10.
10.
Yeah.
Sure. 10, 12 maybe.
Yep.
But after that number, I mean the talent decline is pretty heavy. So I think if you can stack a team with good women and they can carry that aspect, if they're winning their women's every single time,
Okay.
right? If they're not dropping a women's match at all,
And
and definitely getting at least one mix, you're in pretty good shape.
Okay.
Especially if you're picking one of the top women that can also play singles.
So what do you think, Mike? Would you go woman? Because
Yeah, probably, because I mean the pool's smaller. 2 events out of the I3, right? Like you got men's doubles, women's, and I don't watch a whole lot, but it's my understanding. So yeah, I mean if you equalize all the men out, right, then in a way, and think about it that way, like anything could kind of happen with that, with the top 24 and the pool smaller for the women.
So I think I'm going to go against both of you guys then, because I highly disagree. And the only reason I do is the proof is in the pudding, in that only one of the top teams was a first like top 5 pick, and that's Anna Bright and the Orlando Squeeze. Otherwise, the girls were picked in the second. They were picked. We'll have to fact check me on this, please, if I get it wrong. But I'm pretty sure that the other teams that won, the males were taken first. And here's the reason that I believe that would be the way to go, is in mixed doubles, you need a dominant force. On no matter how good your girl is in mixed doubles, if you don't have a guy who can control the court, then it's going to be really tough to win those matches.
I agree. I mean, I'm not arguing that. I think, obviously, if you just go off of the percent of court played, right, and just use that to factor into your analysis, like, okay, for the guys match, the dominant guy is going to take up 70%, right? So there's already one guy playing 70, and then obviously the other 30, so that's 100%, right, for the men's. But then in the two mixed matches, the guys are also playing, what, 75, maybe 80%?
Yeah,
so
if it's been like 95.
Yeah, I mean, the numbers are just totally leaning towards the guys for how many balls / court presence that they take up. So if you're using that into account, definitely. But I mean, I guess you can run off the numbers of what has worked in the past.
Yeah, I guess you have to weight it. In that sense, you have to weight it heavier for the guys because just because of that percentage of court and how much I guess maybe the women are going to back off or however they figure they're going to play together.
Yeah, but I just think there's such a big drop off from the top 15 women to that 16 to 30 range versus obviously Ben Johns, and then 2 through 25 of the guys are relatively close. They're a lot closer together than the women, right? So I think that with such a sharp drop off on the women's game, you have to get a couple of dominant women. I think that would help.
Yeah. I mean, look, I personally, if
I'm
were
not a GM, I'm not a GM.
Yeah, I would like to be a GM. Like, hit me up. I feel like I have the knowledge to put together a really good squad, and I would do my homework. But the long story short is, if I were a GM, I would take a top 5 male if I could, to start. So a Dylan, a JW.
I'm spending the money. I'm
Riley,
getting Ben Johns.
And Ben Johns.
Spend the money and get Ben Johns.
Okay, but what if Ben goes for 800,000? So you're spending 300,000 out of your pocket, knowing you have to spend another couple 100,000 just to get a second player in the first 2 rounds.
You won't have to spend much if you're getting Eric Lang.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like, how many guys are we picking? So.
Yeah, but you're looking at your first 2 rounds, and that's why I think this is so intriguing. And when the draft does come out, I'm going to be just sitting on the edge of my seat seeing how this goes. And I hope that they're transparent about what teams are bidding on what players. Sure. I mean, it's going to be no fun if they're just going, okay, with this pick, we take that.
Is it going to be a live? I mean, I don't think it's released yet, but is it going to be the same style like the Dutch auction where they're all bidding blind? Or are they going to have it like a snake order draft or something where they're all putting in their bids one by one?
I don't know.
Like, how does that work, you know? Or are they auction style? How's it going to go?
We need to get some high-level MLP people on this pod because I don't have the answers to those questions. Yeah. And we'll only find out as they come.
All right.
Yep. But it should be really fun to watch. I hope all you guys at home are watching it because, again, I want this to be something successful. I really want it for the players, for us as pickleball fanatics. I think the league is a great idea. And,
it's a fun event.
Yeah, it's super fun to watch. Definitely fun to watch.
So what else? We got local tournaments coming up.
Yeah. Let's talk a couple of local tournaments because I think and maybe some of the ones that you're thinking about playing as well.
Yeah, I should play all of these. So first one coming up, we got the Legends Holiday Bash. Legends
What's up, Ron
Pickleball.
Cortez?
Ron Cortez or Cortez?
Cortez.
Is it Cortez? Cortez. Shout out Ron. Hosting these Legends tournaments. This one's going to be at Chestnut Forks in Warrenton, Virginia, December 28th through the 30th. As of today, they got about 280 players signed up. I know they got open divisions for singles, doubles, mixed, and then he added in a split age for this tournament. So if your total team age is 85 and above, then you can sign up with an older partner. So I'm playing with Mike Hutton. Shout out, Mike.
And I can't believe you're not playing with Chew. His feelings
He's not old enough.
He's not old enough?
He's not old enough. I got to play with a 50-year-old. He's 48.
Oh.
Yeah. So I'm playing with Mike, who's like 62. Shout out, Mike.
And he's faster than I am. I'm 43.
And then I'm actually playing with my aunt, who has never played like a sanctioned tournament before, but she picked up pickleball like 6 months ago. She's a tennis player.
So what percentage of court you taking?
About 95. Yeah. Okay. I might even slide in and take a return here or there.
All right. So interesting. Well, you've got me down a rabbit hole again, but I really want to talk about it. I was talking to Ron the other night and the open division. All right. Pros and cons of it. And that I think that it should go to a pool play. All right. And here is the benefit behind it. If you have 16 teams to sign up into it, you're not reducing the number of teams, but you have 2 pools of 8 teams. All right. At that point, when you're signing up and paying extra to play the open division, you're going to be guaranteed at least 7 matches.
This is not charity.
Okay, I understand it's not charity, but for those guys like myself who are 4-5 coming up, all right, 3-5 at best some days, but I would like to claim 4-5. I want to play in that open division with the players that are in there, all right, and get better, and that's how you get better. But I don't want to spend $150 to go 2 and out and then go home with my head tucked between my tail and feel horrible about it.
So here's the problem. I'm not a tournament director. Okay. I would like to be. I'd like to host a tournament at some point. But he's done the pool play, and he's had it like 3 teams of 5. We'll say there's 15 signups, right? 3 teams of 5.
Okay.
It's been a problem because you're only taking 2, maybe 3 from each pool. I believe when there's 3 teams of 5, you take 2 from each pool, right? So you get 6 people that move out of pool play. We had 3 teams in a pool go 3-1. Now you're leaving someone out that went 3-1 because of a point differential, right?
Okay.
They lost 1 extra point or something. That sucks.
Again, it's not charity, James.
I didn't have a problem with it. They ended up making a tournament director decision to expand the bracket. I had a bye, lost my match. Whatever.
Oh, wait.
Right?
Somebody is butthurt about something.
I'm a little butthurt because I lost my bye because we expanded the bracket to let another team in.
Okay, so it's very funny that you say this because when I brought this up to Ron, he said the top players don't want this.
Nobody wants.
Oh, no. The top players don't want this. Not nobody.
Yes, obviously the people that have no shot of winning want to play more matches.
All right, timeout.
Let's be real.
Hey.
Let's be real.
I could play out of my mind that day.
Okay. If you're complaining about not getting enough matches, I've never signed up for a tournament and been like, oh, I didn't get my money's worth, right? If you're playing well and you're winning, you're going to get the matches in.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So
you're saying play 4-5 and shut up.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, what would be nice?
An open bracket should be double elimination. Maybe even no come around, right? Realistically,
do you see, World? This is what we're facing with the top players out there. They just want to beat up on each other, better.
I mean, think about it from like a logistics standpoint. If you're waiting for a backdraw to come around, if you're the winner of the of the winner's bracket, a lot of the time you're waiting 2.5 hours for the backdraw to finish up. That's unfair for the winner to sit there and get cold while people are still playing through the backdraw. That sucks. That is the absolute worst. When you're the winner's final,
you go in cold and
you sit there for 3 hours. You go get food. You start hitting again. It's like
maybe a beer.
It's got to move a little. It's got to move faster.
Yeah, for James, it's like Cookout, Taco Bell.
Definitely Cookout. Yeah. Cookout slaps. So okay.
All right. So
we got Legends.
Yep, got Legends. What's up?
December 28th to 30th. Okay, at Chestnut Forks. In the new year. First one on my radar is the Liz Moore and Associates 2024 Pickleball Resolution, hosted by Performance Pickleball RVA. So new facility that just opened I think it's opening this week down in Richmond.
The new indoor one down there.
Yeah, it's like 12 courts.
Sick.
So they're hosting a tournament down there January 12th to January 14th down there. So I'm playing in that. It's in Henrico, Virginia, so just north of Richmond.
Henrico.
Yeah,
Henrico.
All right.
That's a good one. What is it? I'm sorry, January 4th, you said?
12th to 14th, so okay. Second week of January.
Sick.
And then another one, we got January 26th to January 28th, Paddle in the Berg. So that is hosted by Mary Washington University down in Fredericksburg. That one's going to be end of January. I think signups start this Saturday. I believe they did not open for registration yet, but this Saturday they'll open up. They're doing open divisions too. All these are prize money tournaments.
Yep.
I think that's what people want to hear about. And then a couple, nothing in February on my radar right now. A couple in March. First weekend in March, we got Upshot Pickleball, second annual real quote unquote deal of Virginia. That's March 1st through 3rd down in Fredericksburg at University of Mary Washington again in Fredericksburg. And then PPA Tour is coming to Virginia Beach March 20th to the 24th.
Yep.
That's going to be at at Pickleball Virginia Beach, I believe this was called.
Yeah, and I'm definitely going to be at that one. That'll be a super fun event. It'll be big. All the top pros will be there. And yeah, there'll be a legit 4-5 division for me to actually play in. So that should be fun.
One more that I missed, Dill Dinkers. So that is a Maryland franchise.
Justin Liu and Wayman Peter, the pros there.
Yep, but
Rockville location.
that's the Rockville location. They have a location up in Finksburg, which is, I guess, north of Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
Not too far past Baltimore, but it's they're doing a President's Day tournament February 17th and 18th up in Finksburg. So check those out.
Sick, my birthday. Fun times.
Happy
February
birthday.
17th.
Go 0-2 on your birthday.
Yeah.
Sign up for that open division.
Dude, I'm never going to hear the end of this. So that's our upcoming tournaments. And I think this is a great kind of popping off place for us. If you've been enjoying the pod and you want to give us a little like, a subscribe, I think that would be very cool of you. Also, please just fill the comments up. Let us know, ask James what he really likes at Cookout. Ask Mike what's the best paddle out there for a 3.5 or a 5.0.
I got some of my old paddles up there. My mom's paddle, all beat up.
Dude, this thing?
This
is
is the one I was talking about
unreal.
last week.
That's right. I did want to. That's the paddle we talked
Aluminum.
about last one.
The Naomi. Okay, just listen. real quick.
That's Mike's
Everyone-
mom's name.
Just
Yeah,
listen. Unbelievable. It's like you're knocking on an aluminum door. This thing's insane. It's got some weight to it. You could definitely use it as like a bludgeoning tool. It's a weapon of mass destruction. Not to be used on the pickleball court. I think
All
they
right.
outlawed it.
You play with that and I beat you.
I will play you. I will use this paddle and I will bet you.
Not singles, doubles.
There's
It's
no
completely
texture on
partner.
that ball.
It's completely partner
There's a
dependent.
huge dent, though.
Dude, I'm not
Play,
beating you in
play,
singles.
play me singles. I'll spot you like 4 points with that thing.
4.
I'll give you 4 and I'll use this.
I'll take 7.
Can we do that? Can we,
I'll take 7.
7?
7.
7.
Take some highlight clips of this. I think that'd be funny
I get to
watch.
if I get to hit with it for 5 minutes first.
Okay.
You guys want to take it to
7.
Chestnut?
7 and $50.
$50. All right.
We will report back.
Let's go. No, this has to be
You guys
televised.
gonna do this
We'll
tonight?
report back.
No, we're not doing this tonight. I got to train.
It's got no grit. It's got a big dent on there too. Y'all.
Yeah, I got to train. We'll be
Aluminum
using
dents.
indoor balls too to slow it down for me a little bit.
Whatever. Doesn't matter.
Onyx balls.
So if you like what you're hearing, if you love listening to me get roasted 24/7, yes, like, subscribe, comment. We are the Pickle Pulse, and we thank you for listening.
I will talk about my marathon that I ran next episode.